Hi class, so I just want to take a few minutes to talk with you about some of the key concepts involved in preparation. This is not going to be an inclusive video. You'll still need to look over the PowerPoints and do the readings, but there are some concepts that I thought might be helpful to kind of hear out loud and hear explained. So all medical professionals prepare patients for procedures. What's different about a child life specialist is that we are focused on specific developmental milestones and developmentally appropriate ways that we can explain a procedure. And we're doing it to fit the temperament, and coping style of the patient, and we're individualizing our teaching for preparation. So every preparation is going to include sequence of events and sensory information. Now, sometimes a patient will be a avoidant coper, meaning that they don't want any additional information. Some patients will be information seeking copers, and so they're going to want every single potential and possible detail. Now, with that in mind, just like most of us aren't 100% type A or 100% type B personalities, most patients are not entirely one coping style or the other, meaning that they are often somewhere in the middle of that information seeking. So meaning they don't need every single detail in minutia, but they need some of the information. Most are not truly avoidant copers either. Most kids kind of fall in the middle. There will be times when you will meet that 100% avoidant coper, and so your preparation for them will be primarily focused on coping techniques and not focused on the details of the procedure. And that is okay. They do not have to know the details of the procedure if they don't want to. One of the benefits of being a child is that they don't consent to the procedure, their parents do. And so anyway, so if they're information seeking, they're going to be wanting every single detail. If they're information avoidant, they're going to want fewer details. And some child life specialists really struggle with determining how much information to give. But we are not doctors or nurses, so we are individualizing our approach to every kiddo. So if they're active learners, we're providing an active teaching. If they're really shy, we're providing a quieter, matching their affect and providing a more subtle teaching. So we're really trying to meet them where they are. So I mentioned sequence of events and sensory information. Sequence of events should be about as long as however many years the child is. So you're not going to provide 10 steps of a procedure to a 3-year-old. You're also not going to simplify a procedure down to 3 steps for a 10-year-old. However, sometimes we can break it down into multiple sets of 3 if something is really complicated, or provide less information if we have a 10-year-old that's really nervous and therefore their cognitive abilities are being put to the test because they're so anxious. I'm sorry, I feel like the quality of this video isn't very good, but hopefully my message is still getting through. So sequence of events. So for example, many of you, I'm sure, have had blood drawn at some point in your life. So sequence of events would be, could be as detailed as, we're going to go into this room and you'll sit down and spell your name for the phlebotomist, and then they'll ask you your birthday, and then they'll put on a tight rubber band, that's called a tourniquet, and then they'll clean your skin with some cold wet soap. You'll feel a pinch, your blood will be drawn, and then they'll put a band-aid on. Or it could be as simple as, first, you'll feel that tight squeeze of that blue rubber band. Second, you'll feel that cold wet soap. And third, you'll feel that pinch. After the pinch, you've done the hard part, and your job is just to stay still, and then they'll put a band-aid on and you'll be all done. So there are lots of ways to, and of course there's an even deeper explanation, right, of like, hey, do you know why you went to the doctor today? Oh, because your tummy's been hurting. Well, doctors are kind of like detectives, and they're trying to find out what's going on in your body that's making your tummy hurt. And one of the ways that they can find out more about your body is your blood, because your blood goes all over your body and it tells the story of your body. So by looking at a little bit of your blood under a microscope, the doctor can find out more clues and do a better detective job to finding out why your tummy's hurting. So to take that little bit of blood today, have you done that before? Do you know how that works? And then going into the preparation from there. So you can see that there are a lot of different ways that you would really individualize that for a family. But I also wanted to share with you that another very key concept is that we're going to use the softest, honest language possible. So a lot of time when I work with a student or even a health care professional, it's not a child life specialist, they say, what am I supposed to say when a child asks me if it's going to hurt? Sorry, I thought I heard my daughter crying, but I think we're okay. She's napping. What do I do when they ask me if it's going to hurt? How am I honest? Of course it hurts. It's a needle. Well, we want to give kids something that they can relate, so it's not so ominous. Hurt, wow, hurt can mean a lot of things, right? A tummy ache hurts, having a paper cut hurts, getting pinched hurts, but so does being hit in the head with a baseball bat, right? So do you see how pain is just on this huge scale? So we want to narrow that scale down for these kiddos so that it's not so ominous. So we want to give them a familiar sensation that we can be a little more direct with, and so it's not so ominous. So for example, well, a lot of kids tell me that it feels a little bit like a pinch. There are lots of things you might hear out there. Some people say bee sting. I don't like that. I think a lot of children are really, actually, and adults, sorry, I was thinking of my sister, is just terrified of bees. And so I don't like bee sting, but everyone's felt a pinch. And when a child says to me, ooh, you know, but is it gonna hurt? And I'll say, well, have you felt a pinch before? Very rarely a child old enough to have this conversation is gonna say no. How long does a pinch hurt? Does it last for a long, 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 long time, or just for a little time? Well, just for a little time. Well, okay. You know, so anyway, it puts it in that digestible piece. So we're going to use honest language, honest, soft language. So similar, another example would be, you know, an adult might say the medicine really burns. Burns is not a soft word. Burns is a really scary word. I might use it feels tingly, it feels warm. I've even heard a kid say it feels spicy, which I think is still softer than burns. So to give you sort of an idea of how we can do that. So that's preparation in a nutshell. Honest but softest language possible. Sequence of events, so we're going to give it to them in breakdownable steps. And sensory information. So that's kind of the key concepts of preparation. I'm realizing maybe I want to do another example. I did a blood draw. So maybe, for example, going back to surgery. So some digestible steps might be, the first thing you'll do is meet with the doctor who's going to help your body. So that would be the surgeon. And of course you might specify the doctor who's going to help your throat, the doctor who's going to help your broken arm. You know, of course there's 1,000 reasons to have surgery, right? So again, you would individualize that. And I like to, again, start with, do you know why you're at the doctor today? Because we don't have to answer any questions we're not asked. So, for example, if a child doesn't ask, how are they going to reach my heart? We don't need to tell them that they're going to cut tiny holes or they're going to, you know, so we want to answer only the questions we're asked, right? So that's another kind of important thing to think about. So a kid, you know, a 3-year-old, often their family has come up with some language, and it's great for us to continue to use that language. So they're going to fix my owie even. That's great. Then I might say,